It is a true honor to introduce to you our final speaker for tonight, your state president, Dan Madden. I can tell you quite honestly that through this entire year of working with Dan Madden, I don't think you would ever find a president that truly every single time we were together, and I know every time that we were not together as a state board or even as just members of the board, not even the full board, it was always about you. Everything he did was about serving you better. He was convicted to make sure that this year was going to be incredible. He set incredibly high standards for every single member of the student board. And he wanted to get a job done. He wanted to build that skyscraper to make it the best thing we've ever seen. And he's going to be really something I'm going to miss working with him and all that he's given. Your state president, Mr. Dan Madden.
Hello, MASC. I honestly don't even know where to begin tonight. There are so many people I want to thank and memories I want to share and jokes I don't want to crack. But I'll say before I begin, this is a little weird given my farewell. Actually reading from a piece of paper, being that last year at MASC I totally forgot to do it and I went up to the stage and winged it. So, yeah, give me a break. Everything I say to you tonight is 100% truth. I don't plan on telling anything different. I never thought I'd be in the position that I am today. That may sound like a cliche line that any person in the elected office may say, but it's true. I do not know where I'd be today without you all. And throughout my student council career, I've lived by the motto, you don't have to change the world, but at least try to change the world for someone around you. And here's why. My journey started all the way back in middle school. Personally, I think it's some of the most precious and most awkward years of your life. I think we can all agree on that. Nobody wants to escape the social norm due to one reason or another. Maybe it's because they feel like they aren't accepted or feel like they have anything, they don't have anywhere to sit during lunch. In these teenage years, I felt people were just objects, categorized into neat little boxes with the titles nerds, jocks, or fill in the blank. I felt like I didn't fit into either of them. All I wanted was to be me. Starting in 8th grade, I knew I wanted to get out and go to private schools, and I knew that they were different. There were kids who thought and acted like me. I didn't want to be in an environment where I was afraid to be me. And I thought high school was just going to be the same 4 years of what middle school was like. And long story short, I only got into one of my 2 schools I applied to, and I couldn't afford the other one. I was devastated and didn't know what to do. I felt like I had no path. I wasn't going to be someone who only focused on athletics 24/7. And I didn't have an interest in focusing in all my in just academics, as I know as cynical as that sounds to all the teachers out there. I just wasn't interested. I didn't know where I was going, but I guess if you don't know where you're going in life, any road will take you there. I will say that it was a rough time. Getting suspended a couple of times in middle school after fighting kids who thought they could pick on me, and I had enough. I wasn't even allowed to go on our 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. A quick spoiler alert, I will add, I ended up buying a plane ticket and flew down to meet them all there, so I got the final afternoon. Like I said, I thought high school was going to be the same as middle school until one day. I didn't know much about student council and I didn't think I was really interested until that one person decided to change my world. The night before nomination forms were due, it was around 10 p.m. and my older brother, who was a senior at that time, had gotten a text from one of his best friends telling me that I should do student council. And I said I'd think about it, but I really wasn't interested. About every 10 minutes, a new text would flood in, heckling me to do it. At around 11 p.m., I finally said, why not? I wrote my essay and got my 40 signatures the day it was due and handed it in. And I got voted on the student council my freshman year. And that's when my life changed. Because of that one person who changed my life, I was able to do things I never thought I would be able to do. I've met some of my closest friends, traveled across the country to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Portland, Oregon, where I didn't think anyone actually went to. I thought they were just places on a map, but hey, I was able to go, which was awesome. And all that because that one person pushed me to go the extra mile. I can't even imagine where my life would be right now if I just didn't do it. As the pinnacle leader of Student Council, I ask you to never forget the motto. I may not have to change the world, but at least try to change the world for at least one person. For you underclassmen here at Hyannis for the first or second time, I want to share something with you as well. I was here at Hyannis for the first time in 2014, sitting all the way in the back corner over there, listening to President Jackie Manning and watching candidates like Joshua Florence. And I remember saying to myself, I can never do that. I wasn't the smartest. I didn't really think I had what those kids had. Those kids were so accomplished. I was looking at their resumes in the books and said, I can never do that. I'll never be able to reach a goal as high as they can. Well, I guess it worked out, right? My point is, never say to yourself, I can't do something because fill in the blank. Never say to yourself that I can't do this because I don't have enough friends, or I can't do this because I'm not the smartest in my class, because that's not what it's about. That's not what a leader is. That statement is bogus. It does not symbolize who you are as student leaders. And this may sound cliche, but I mean this because I was once one of your students. Do not limit yourself as an individual, and anything worth in life is worth fighting for, and I believe that to my heart. There are many people I want to thank for making tonight a reality. I have to start with my parents who came down to watch this speech. They worked their tails off to give me the best, and they continue to do that every day, and I will forever be thankful. I remember a few years ago, I was dying to go to the 2015 MASC conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico. With a brother going off to college, we needed some way to fundraise. I didn't get the response from my parents, no, Daniel, you can't do that, but let's find a way to make it happen. My mother and me, but mostly my mom, I did a little bit of the stirring, baked over 150 jars of our homemade hot fudge to sell during the holiday season. And that trip was one of the best memories I've ever had in my life, and I'll never be able to thank my mom enough for her help. Another huge thank you to a woman who doesn't get enough credit, North Reading High School Student Council Advisor, Mrs. Amy St. Arnaud. Mrs. Amy St. Arnaud has been through the toughest situations as an advisor and has put me under her wing since freshman year. She's been there for me and the entire council through thick and thin, has put up with my shenanigans over the past 4 years. Also, Ms. St. Arnaud, while raising 2 incredible children, has been able to devote her life to North Reading High School Student Council, and has made Student Council from an honorable mention as a Book of Excellence to a National Gold Council of Excellence, and also a State Council of Excellence, and I cannot give her enough credit for what she does. She and my 4 officers, Emily Zhang, Gabby Lanzaro, Abby Dorlando, and Georgie Elliott, have had my back at every turn. Whether I was dealing with MASC, these 5 were always able to help me, and took charge when I couldn't be there. And they couldn't have done a better job with North Reading Student Council. Another person who deserves a tremendous amount of acknowledgement tonight is MASC Executive Director, Mrs. Linda Dugan. I remember going into being a delegate at MASC my sophomore year, and I always heard of this infamous Dugan, and I didn't even know if that was a person or not. It was just Dugan, that was it. And for 2 years as a delegate and vice president, Linda Dugan and I have had some incredible experiences. Driving up to Drake High School during rush hour on 495, believe me, she has heard every excuse in the books when it comes to being late to a meeting. And I tried to make up new ones every week, I just couldn't because she knew I was lying every single time. But she has put in countless hours into MASC and has helped shape me to the man I am today. As always, a man who I can't thank enough. My man, Mr. Paul Brannigan. I don't know how a person is physically capable serves a principal who is building a new high school, serve as a student council advisor, and lead this incredible organization. I don't even think he sleeps, to be honest. I think he's a robot of some sorts. But while working with Bran, I've never felt that Bran was a boss per se, but acted as one of my closest friends. Anytime I needed help, he was there. Bran, I will never forget the memories we shared together, and I can't thank you enough for everything you have done for me, and everyone else sitting in this ballroom today. And lastly, to the MASC Executive Board. I've never had a closer relationship than I do with these students sitting to my right. From the very start, we acted as a well-oiled machine. I consider you some of my closest friends, and I will never forget the memories we share, and also my political arguments with Young Jung-soo and Sandy. To Sarah, I've never met someone who's been more organized and fast-paced than you, and you're honestly one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. And Hunter, I've served with Hunter for 2 years, And I remember the day we were elected onto the new MASC executive board as vice president and secretary, along with our friend Justine Tibiasio. And that's when our lives took off. The shenanigans I share with those two and the memories I will share with Hunter and Justine, I will never forget. The passion that runs through Hunter's bones, and some I am truly jealous of. Anything that comes to his mind, you know he will do it. Before I launched my campaign last year, I sat down looking for some inspiration and what I wanted to focus on. So I started to watch my favorite movie, Napoleon Dynamite. After a feud with his uncle Rico, Napoleon was on the phone with Pedro, who was running for class president. Pedro says to Napoleon, "What do I tell them?" And Napoleon responds, "Just tell them all of their wildest dreams will come true if they vote for you." MASC, last year at this time, I said, MASC, let's lead to a winning season. And hell, I think we won undefeated this year. MASC, I hope that after this year, all of your wildest dreams came true. And if not all of them, I hope some of them did, because I know mine did. I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors, whatever that may be. And thank you for an unforgettable journey, MASC. You're the best. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you.